Just
I don't know. I talk a lot.
Take one more at some point.
You think you blabber a lot.
I do.
Ask Chris. I talk a lot.
It's
hard to shut.
It's more so Jeremiah.
It's hard to shut it off sometimes. It's just keep coming out.
Right. Bring it back in.
It's true.
Oh, I get that.
Okay.
It's my life.
Well, welcome to the WIN meeting, Tabitha.
Thank you. It's good to be
Is Tabitha
here.
your actual name?
It is.
Okay, good. Because I said that out loud just now, and I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
Because we know you mostly as Tab.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I hope Tabitha's actually it. I don't know what else it would be, but
that's it.
That was a reach, and I'm glad it was right.
That's a very good guess. No, that is and that's how I will introduce myself to people.
Okay.
Always, because that's my full name.
Yeah.
But I always kind of say, but you're welcome to call me Tab, because that's what everybody else calls me.
Is that a chosen nickname, or is that just kind of what's happened over the years and people just call you that?
Just what's happened. It's actually just from my childhood.
Yep.
My siblings and I all had longer names, and so we all just shortened each other's names.
Same.
Yeah.
I have 3 brothers.
Okay.
All of our names start with J.
J.
My dad's name is Jay. So, but my name's Jeremiah, of course. And since I was little, my mom called me Maya. And so that's what my wife calls me, and that's what my brothers call me. People that know me from back then. But that's not like what most people around here normally call me. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which is better. I don't like Jerry. I don't want any of those. It could be worse. For sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Do you think she chose Maya because it didn't start with J and it was easier to remember?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because they would do the whole
Exactly.
Because we were in trouble a lot.
Really?
Yes, 4 boys.
I see.
Yeah, and no girls. It was a rambunctious household.
I feel so bad for your mom.
You have how many kids do you have? 4?
I have 3 kids.
3 kids. Yes.
3 kids.
2 boys, 1 girl.
That's correct.
All in high school or older, or
yeah. Isaac just graduated.
Okay.
He's 19. Aiden, our daughter's a junior.
Nice.
She just turned 17.
Driving.
She is.
Nice.
She's a good driver. Good
Nice.
driver. And then Eli is 14, 8th grade. Also wants to be a driver.
Well, good. Because that's the thing now. Some kids don't really want to learn how to drive.
That's true.
How do they feel about driving around Houston?
Yeah, so that was a real thing that we talked about before we moved here. And thankfully, they are just doing just fine. They kind of eased into it when we first moved, just kind of taking neighborhood streets and roads.
Of course,
and,
yeah.
But Aiden is, her confidence came pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So we're thankful the Lord really provided for her in that. She's able to get out on
the middle, the middle child, the girl, and 2 boys. Yeah. I'm sure she lacks self-confidence.
Right.
You've got to survive in that situation.
Yeah. Well, and she just kind of prepared herself to know that it was going to be a little bit of a challenge, and she's just kind of faced it head on.
That's
she's
cool.
done a great job.
And where did you guys come from?
Just north of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh, okay. See, I grew up in Michigan.
Oh, that's right.
I know the northernness, yeah.
Right, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't you know?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a change coming down to Texas.
It is.
Are you a big fan, or is it still a lot of adjusting? Because you guys haven't been here that long.
Right.
It's been like
2 months.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 months. Not even 3 months.
Yeah, not even 3 months. Maybe I should do the math on that. No, just 2 months.
Yeah,
just literally 2 months this week.
I will say it feels like a lot longer.
I agree.
And that you fit in so well.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's true. Like you
you.
fit the staff and the church and all those things so well. So it does feel like you've been around. However, like 8-9 weeks is nothing.
Yeah.
So how's that going? How is the transition, all that stuff landing?
Overall really well.
Yeah.
And really it's the Lord's provision for us. He's providing for each of us in our family, individually, but also as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just so grateful for that. As we walk in His provision, it's just the best place to be.
Yeah.
And so we are definitely in a state of upheaval in our lives. It's still very fresh.
How many boxes are still
exactly?
not unpacked
exactly.
yet?
And we don't even have our own place yet. We've been living with people,
yeah.
and so
so a lot of stuff still just to
absolutely,
try to,
yeah. And so life is pretty discombobulated right now. It can feel like, but we're learning so much, learning how to adapt and be flexible and not hold tightly to the things of this world, and to be thankful for the ways the Lord provides, even if it's maybe not how we would do it for ourselves.
Of course,
Does that make sense?
It almost rarely is.
Right.
Right? Like, very rarely is, what I love for me is this, and this, and this. And God's like, oh, you're right. That is, I was wrong. You knew what you need. And that's not how it usually goes. Yeah. It's putting us in stretching places that we find the most peace and, ultimately satisfaction. So that I get that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So we're grateful. We're grateful for how he's providing, and we are just walking by faith that he's going to continue. Yeah. And we want to be willing and to follow him, to do what it is that he has in front of us, whether it's what we would prefer or not. Yeah, if that makes sense. Right. So that's where we're at. Yeah. So it's the transition actually has gone way smoother and better than probably we could have anticipated in so many ways, and so we're grateful. Yeah. For that. Still lots of unknowns, but
of course,
we're thankful.
Tell the people a little bit about all the people want to know.
Okay.
This is a high pressure question.
Wow. Okay.
What do you do here? What's your role at Current, and what are some of those things involved?
So I probably should have, clarified some of this before I came on. Because you're asking me that question, and I don't really even know what my title is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I know.
Listen, this is true. I mean, true story. Listen, y'all. Like, we are infamous and notorious here for just work.
Yeah, just come.
And there'll be stuff to do. And there'll be lots of things. Because there is always lots of stuff to do. Lots to do. And I'm sure there's, things that but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I think my job description says guest experience and care minister. But then I've also heard guest experience coordinator, I don't know, director, I don't know.
When you attach something like care minister.
Right.
The great thing, that box is... So anything that we care about
exactly
could technically fall under you.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is a lot of things.
So that's kind of where I'm at. So, maybe I'll double check and kind of clarify.
Hey, Darren, if you don't mind sending Tab an actual guest experience coordinator, director, minister, care person, whatever. Maybe we should handle that next time.
It's all good. It's all good. I hope nobody feels thrown under the bus.
No.
But actually, it's great, though. What I do know that I get to do is definitely connect with, or try to connect with, all of our visitors that come in the door. Yeah. And hopefully connect them to somebody, so they don't just fall through the cracks.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Be followed up with, be connected with, and hopefully they feel seen and heard and cared for genuinely while they're here. Right. And then
not just checking a box that we met you because you're new, and we need to get you into our database and all those things.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to pause the question just for a second, because I'm curious your perspective.
Yeah.
Because you're not much past just being a guest yourself, quite honestly.
Yeah.
What's your experience been like getting to be part of the church and integrating and all that, and what have you found to be true about Current as a church family and those kinds of things?
That's a big question, but I definitely have experienced kind of an authenticity, just a realness and a people have just been so gracious to include and welcome me, but not just me, my whole family.
Yeah, yeah.
And it is huge. And I told some folks the other day, I have 3 teenagers.
Right.
And this move has not been an easy thing for them.
Well,
right? Moving
friends and
exactly,
and identity and all those things that you have established.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this was not an easy move for them, not an easy move for any of us, but it has been so amazing to hear my kids, especially early on, but we still talk about it, to hear my teenagers say, we found our people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Like we just have conversations at home where it is very evident that they feel seen.
Yeah.
They feel cared for, not in a superficial, fakey way, which they have experienced some of that in their lives.
Yeah.
And so for them to just be so like, this is it. Like, this is our community. This is like, we get to do life with these people. Like, to hear my teenagers say things like that and that they're grateful for.
And you're not dragging them to church. You're not like, listen, we have to do whatever they feel like it's theirs. That's such a big deal.
Yeah.
What's your like ministry experience like? Is this a new world for you? Have you been doing this a long time? What's kind of story there?
Good question. First time I've ever worked on a church staff.
Okay.
I grew up as a preacher's kid.
Oh,
so
same.
I grew up, really?
Yes.
Okay, fun.
Yeah. Well, that's a word for it.
It's an experience, right?
That's right.
It is what it is.
It's certainly an experience. Yes.
Remind me in Michigan, where I just.
So I grew up in this really tiny town called Deckerville, which is on the thumb side.
Yeah.
Of Michigan, and like 5 miles off of Lake Huron.
Yep.
And so just a little farming community.
Gotcha.
And that's where I was actually born in South Bend, Indiana. But I only lived there till I was like 1.5 or something.
Gotcha.
And then my dad took a church way up in the middle of nowhere, Michigan. For like 7 years, I think, 8 years, somewhere in there. And then we moved in and then they've moved around a little bit in there. And I still have two of my brothers still live there and stuff. But anyway, so that's
cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. I have a brother who still lives there, not far from Grand Rapids. So.
Okay. So my one brother is a pastor there in Grant, which is just a little north of Grand Rapids.
Okay.
But anyway.
Cool.
For all you Northerners that are watching, you know what we're talking about. Everybody else is like, what is happening?
What in the world? Well, yeah. So growing up in a preacher's home, and so I just have always, known.
Ministry life is different because you know it differently.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've been involved in some like parachurch organizations or some ministry. My husband and I actually met when we were working at a children's residential facility in Ohio, dealing with working with kids who've been abused, neglected, abandoned, bad situations. And so that was a beautiful place of healing for them and growth. And then my husband worked with CIY, Christ in Youth, for almost 10 years. So another not a church, but an organization that serves the church.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Very much ministry oriented.
So this is my first
church staff job.
But
you've been doing ministry stuff for a long, long time.
Yeah. We try to be, every church we've ever been involved with, we always try to you just have to step in. The best way to get to know people or to feel like you're a part of anything is to just start getting involved, do something.
Yeah.
So we've always been very involved. So it's pretty natural for us.
Yeah.
It's pretty natural to just jump in.
I will say it's kind of cool when it becomes your job, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Like when it's something, you've done for years and years and years, whether it's in a volunteer capacity or whatever, even just side things or whatever, all that stuff. When it's something you can pour your all into, it really is a pretty wonderful blessing. I don't want to skip past, though, the serving thing, because I want to talk about that for a second. For those that are just listening, like we talk about, the whole take the towel and to serve. And I think, and a lot of churches do. 'Cause the reality is, we do desperately need volunteers for things to work here.
Right.
It's just true, right? There's no way around that. I think here, it's something like 180 or 200 volunteers on a given Sunday to make everything roll between kids and students and the service and all that stuff and all the things that happen. So there is a nature of when we say like, hey, we need people to serve, we need people to jump in on it. There is a piece of it like that's just true. We just need it. But the other side of that stuff, it's not a bait and switch. Like it really is. It's where you find your people. It's where you get connected in a different way. It's not somebody you just saw and said hi to.
That's
you know,
right.
across the way or whatever. It's you're now in the trenches kind of
That's
along
right.
with it. Listen, when you are go through the trauma along with somebody of a screaming children all in one, you know,
That's right.
there's a shared
experience
That's right.
there. That's for sure.
Yeah, and this we call this the win, but you share those wins too.
Mm-hmm.
When you see kids' lives change, when you
That's
see
right.
them grow, you see them learning scripture, or in your case, you know, you're meeting new people every week, and anyway, that's just what you're saying is such a. I really just hope that people understand that it's a genuine thing we believe in and we know to be true because we've experienced it.
Yep.
So anyway.
It's easy to just because we have fallen into that even as a family sometimes, just to fall into that kind of trap. It seems like a harsh word, but it is kind of like this. It's real easy to just kind of attend or just come. And this is just what we do, right? This is, and
you can check your box off of you went to church, and you took in, and you were filled. And
absolutely,
good things happened, and
absolutely, and it's a great church family, and I love being a part of it, and that's all really wonderful. And it's easy to just come and do that, and then just go about the rest of your week.
Yes.
But in order for this to function like it does, or to have a nursery, you have to have people who will be willing to go and watch the babies for that. To have a kids ministry, you have to have people who, will help teach those kids or guide them or just be the overseer for that hour, right? Just to help get the kids where they need to go. And, for us to have coffee.
Yeah.
There have to be people who are willing to come and just make the coffee and serve the coffee.
Yeah, and be happy doing it. And all those things.
Exactly. And
because it can make or break somebody's first time church experience. It really can.
Yeah.
By the way, I have a bone to pick about the coffee.
Let's hear it.
As the worship pastor in here.
I see. Yeah.
I have a feeling the coffee might be slightly too good.
It is flying
the people
out the door.
they're slightly late coming in.
I see. Oh, you're thinking that's the holdup, is what you're saying.
People are waiting, not waiting because it's taking a long time, but there's a lot of people wanting coffee.
There's a lot of people wanting coffee.
So anyway, maybe if we could dial back the quality just a little,
I see.
And then they won't want it as much, and then maybe they'll come on time.
I hear you. I don't disagree. Oh,
I'm not a coffee person, so I can't speak to the fact that it's like great because I don't like coffee at all. However, apparently it's really good.
Apparently that's a thing.
Yeah, and the iced coffee thing has been a real thing. People have loved that.
That's good. I think it's probably the sweetness.
Well, sure.
You're honest, right?
If you come to Current, you will get free iced coffee and load you up with sugar and caffeine.
But it's good. It does taste good.
Makes for good worship services, too. You get that caffeine going. People, 11 o'clock is always a little more engaged. I think they've had a little more time for it to, to work in.
Soak in.
Yeah. All right, getting back to what you do here, like talking about the guest experience stuff. Yeah. Like, tell people a little bit about what that means, because that's a word, like churchy word that I think insiders, staff people, whatever, pastor kids, all you kind of know.
Right.
But what does that really entail? What does that look like for you on a week, on a Sunday, all those kinds of things?
Yeah, that's a good question. And probably, I don't know, this would just be my perspective, but kind of like I said before, like, it's important to me, and I want it to be important to our volunteers who serve and who greet the visitors and or just everybody who comes in here. Like, it is visitors that we definitely want to make sure that we connect with and see and try to connect them with somebody.
Right.
But it's not just visitors. We want anybody. We want anybody and everybody who's here to feel seen, feel cared for. I sometimes think about it like if we're having a family get together, like at our house or at like my mom and dad's house, right, at Christmas time or something. Let's just say that. Like, there's all of us, and we all know we've been looking forward to this, and we're so excited to be together. My siblings, all the nephews, nieces, cousins, right? Yeah. Everybody, we're all there together. How exciting and how fun!
Right.
Like, how crazy would that be if somebody came into our gathering,
sure,
and we literally ignored them?
Right.
Or
Especially
acted
if they're
like they weren't
a guest, like a friend of somebody who's not part of the family.
Right.
It's like first time meeting people or whatever. Whenever
Yeah.
you pretend like they're not there.
Right. Or you just act like, oh, they'll be fine. Like we're doing our thing. We're doing our family thing, right?
And there's
like,
familiarity there because
yes,
you have your
sure.
traditions and rituals and whatever, all those things.
Right.
Yeah.
But we have to be so careful to like, man, when there's somebody, or even maybe it's somebody that somebody else in my family knows, I don't really know them, but somebody else knows them. Like that doesn't, what's the word? I can't think. That doesn't like excuse me from like still going.
Yeah, it doesn't preclude you from being part of that. Yeah.
Make a connection with them because they have taken the step to come to our family gathering.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
If that makes sense?
Yeah.
So like...
Yeah, what a huge, like, leap of faith in that, just to go to a brand new place that you know nothing really about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, that's a great
So
perspective.
we as the family, the people who are regular people here, that's my desire, is not just me as the, point person or whatever, and helping my volunteers and everybody who's serving to like see this, but like I would love for everybody in this family, in this body, if you're coming and you're here regularly, like I promise you, you will see somebody that you don't know every single Sunday, all the time. And I would encourage you, right? Like take that step to just go introduce yourself.
Yes.
This other person that you introduce yourself may have been coming here for 12 years, right?
I meet people all the time. My question is always like, okay, one, have I met you before?
Right.
Because sometimes I forget.
It's very possible.
Sorry.
Yeah.
If that's happened to anybody, I'm so sorry. But also a lot of times, like I always ask, so have you been coming a long time or a little time or whatever?
Yeah.
And it's all relative, because I met somebody just this couple weeks ago. I asked them if they were new and said, oh, no, not really. I've been coming for a while. And I said, okay, like how long? And they said like 4 months. To me, that's still very new. Yeah. To them, though, those 4 months, they've obviously like really taken hold and felt like this was their place, which is great. But I'd never seen, and I'm here every Sunday. And
Right.
I'd never met them, never really like connected, and never seen them, notice them.
Yep.
So it's, your point is so valid. Like what an important thing to meet new people, intentionally meet new people. Yeah.
Because we are all coming together for a common purpose, right? To worship the Lord together, to fellowship with one another, to encourage each other through the teaching of God's word, through the breaking of bread, through prayer, all the things that we do. We are coming here together to do that, and it's so important that we just see each other, we acknowledge each other as part of the body of Christ, and take that step to go introduce yourself to somebody, even if you're not a talker or you're a shy person. I get that. I am not. That's not necessarily.
I was going to ask you that question. Like, what are you naturally? Like, you more of an introvert? Are you an extroverted person? Like, what's the?
That's interesting. That's a good question. And I feel like probably, like, I definitely prefer to have private, like, one-on-one conversations. Yeah. Than to be like in front. Like, this is not my comfort zone even though it's just us right here. I know that like other people are watching. And there's a microphone like that's just weird to me. All this is, but
that's okay.
So, and speaking in front of people and stuff, that's not my comfort zone. I can do that, and I actually love to do it. But I'm definitely like. No, I'm a helper. I like to be behind the scenes. That's my comfort zone. But I have seen over and over again. I know how I feel when I have been the new person at church, at a church gathering, and don't get spoken to.
Yes.
And it's just isolating. It can be.
Yeah.
When, like, I'm new, I don't know anybody else, and nobody's approaching me. I'm not approaching anybody, right? Like, I'm not going to be the one. And so, like, as a new person, I just know how it has felt. I know how it feels to be included. Yes. And I know how it feels to be ignored or excluded. Yeah. And so I've just been convicted of that over the years. Like, even if it feels weird to me to like see somebody and go say hi, or like, my heart's beating really hard, I'm nervous, I don't really want to go say something. The Lord is helping me, and that's the thing. Like, the Holy Spirit will help you, and He will equip you. Yeah. to get through those hard times.
Well,
and
it goes
to take
back
that
to,
step of faith.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's what we were saying earlier about kind of being in, what you mentioned about being in the place of God's provision. That's the best place to be.
Yeah.
And it's the same.
Yeah.
If it's easy to do, one, you definitely don't have an excuse to not be doing it. But you should, like, maybe step outside of that easy part.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's people that come here and have their people and have their circles and their life groups and all, and that's why we encourage those things, because it's how you do make those real connections.
Right.
But there's so many that don't.
Yep.
And realize like they need that they need somebody to welcome them in.
That's
to say,
right.
Come on. It's interesting. So this was a few years ago now, but there was a Sunday that I had off, and which is very rare.
Yeah.
But we thought, hey, we've not really been to any other churches in the area.
Yeah.
Like, let's just let's just do something different for one Sunday and just see kind of. And so we went to this given church. I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus.
Sure.
But we were kind of waiting in line, so to speak, to get in and other stuff. And we got to the spot where we're supposed to head into the auditorium space, and they literally shut the doors in our face.
Oh no.
And wanted to send us down a hallway somewhere else. And I was like, no thanks. Like if and then we said, well, that's okay. We'll just go to Current, and this was back when we still had the 12:30 service.
Oh, okay.
And so we could still make, we got back to that, and and it was just proven to me this whole thing we're talking about. Yeah. And they treated me like I was the best thing in the world walking up to those doors, and it was such
that's awesome.
Now usually I get here 6:30, 7 o'clock, whatever, and nobody else is here.
Sure.
I don't get to experience it all the time, but it was so wonderful. They were so, hey guys, that's awesome to see. There was just this really genuine just thank you for being here, and I work here, and they were thankful for me coming and being, and it was just. I don't know. It just showed. It wasn't we're way better than them, or that's not the point.
Yeah.
But there is such a. It matters. It matters how people are treated when they come into your doors, and
it does. It does, and it doesn't mean that you're going to be best friends with these people, and because you may or may not connect with them in a real organic, natural, deep way.
There's 900, 1,000 people, whatever.
There's
You're not
no
all
way.
going to be all.
There's
best
no
friends.
way. It's not realistic that you're gonna.
Yeah.
But it's important as members of the body of Christ that we who are believers, we who do follow the way of the Christ, do treat others the way He treated them. Yeah. See people, talk to them, care for them. And the only way we can know what other people's needs are is talking with them, right?
Right.
Have a conversation. A lot of people that come in our doors, right? It's the same thing. It's that same principle of when somebody comes into your family gathering, you could let somebody else talk to them and whatever and just tell you about them later, right? Hey, one of my brothers, hey, go talk to them, right?
Yeah.
No, but maybe the Lord has something to teach me or to use me in going and have a conversation.
He does. He absolutely does. He wants to use every single person in here in that capacity.
And I think that we also know life is hard.
Yes.
And so most people that come to any kind of a gathering in churches all across America and churches all across the world, there is pain in people's lives.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There is hardship.
And oftentimes that's why, hey, we need to get back to church.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, that's not always true.
Sure, right,
of course, but oftentimes it's like, man, A, B, and C is not going great. We need to get back into church.
Yeah.
The kids need to get back into church. Whatever the conversation, whatever that thing is, you're right. They're coming often. You got to assume they're coming from a place where they need to be loved. Yeah. They need to feel the love of Christ around them. They need to be in that family.
And that's exactly right. And what you just said, we want them to feel the love of Christ. And they may be coming to church.
Right.
But the church is the people of Christ, right? It's the body of Christ. And so our hope is that not just the visitors, but everybody here experiences the love of Christ through the way the body cares for each other with Christ as its head, right? Yeah. And so, it's so important to be involved and to be a productive, I don't know if that's the right word, productive part of the body.
But an engaged part, yeah.
Right. Paul talks a lot about the body of Christ and how everybody has a different function.
Right. Yes.
Within the body of Christ. I'm not talking about current. We're not talking about this church body.
The big church,
The big church, the body of Christ. God has given his Spirit to for the edification of the church. That's a churchy word, right? To build up the church.
That's right.
For the good of the body of Christ. And we all have different skills and abilities and things that we're good at, right? The finger does way different things than the knee does, but they're both important, right? The ear, we could talk all through every single body
and
part,
all
but like
very important pieces.
Right, and organs, and there's there's bones, and there, right? So my challenge to people, other believers that I know, is just, man, I want to encourage you to talk to the Lord about being productive in his kingdom. Lord, what should I be doing? What's my role? What is my function?
What's the space that you need to be filling? And
you have to do it on purpose, though. It's not just going to happen, right? You have to, on purpose, seek it and ask the Lord and really pursue.
Well, that's we talk about the action transformation celebration stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And this is the action part.
Yep.
And a lot of it, God wants to work through you and work you over and change you and all those things. But part of that is you have to do it and do it on purpose.
Yep.
Yeah, said this is one of those things I've said to I did youth ministry way long time ago. And one thing I would always tell the kids is nobody has a close walk with God on accident. It doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Never ever happens. It has to be on purpose.
It's true.
And it's so simple.
Right.
But it's a choice you must make.
That's right.
Because if we don't make the choice, the flesh naturally takes over.
That's exactly
generally
right.
speaking.
Yep.
It's unnatural to us. Yep. And so we must choose that over and over. And it's part of that daily renewing that we need to go through.
And becomes more natural.
Absolutely.
As we
walk away from the flesh.
That's right.
And
we're walking
Christ.
with the Spirit. That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It will become our more natural.
Yeah, and then it's easy.
Response.
and
That's
then it's like, well, I want everybody to know. Everybody to experience it. It's like anything that's good for us. It takes a little time.
Yep.
But it always is worth it.
Yep.
And on the backside of it, and to the even like in our service, and that's not just going and talking to somebody. Show them how we sing here. Show them how we take communion here. Pray with them. Like this is us. This is how we do this.
Right.
There's so many pieces.
Yep.
I think a lot of times people think, well, I don't want to intrude. I don't want to assume. I don't want to, and it makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
But like you were saying, if we're thinking of it from the other side, people would need security.
Yeah.
People need confidence in knowing how, we say guest experience.
Yeah.
What did they, touch, taste, feel, smell, hear, see?
Right.
All those things.
Right.
Yeah. And did they feel better because of it, or did they feel left out or unseen or unheard?
Right.
Because that is the opposite side.
That's right. And we can't control
right
somebody's experience or how they feel. We can't, we aren't like in charge of that, right?
Yes.
But we can do our best, right? Because we could be as authentic as possible and step out of our comfort zone and have a conversation with somebody, and we could like do things really well and really right, and somebody could still have a bad experience or have a critical, mindset, or who knows, like we can't, we just know God, though Jesus never asks us to, like, we're not in charge of the outcome. We just have our obligation.
Yeah.
Our obligation, if we have one, is to love.
Yes.
That's all it is. That's what Jesus has taught us.
And that's what we'll be known as.
Exactly.
If we do that, that's who we'll be known as.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And love is patient.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like the first thing, right? That's huge.
Yeah, and it's first, right?
Love is,
that's
right. It's the first thing in the list.
It's
patient, is kind. Yeah, it does not envy, it does not boast. Like, let's just go down. What does love look like? Man, love is patient. And don't we need that when we Like,
and on a Sunday when
all
it's
the
busy,
time. Yes.
and all the things didn't go right, and all the whatever, and right now we're just talking about our church services, but it extends so far beyond that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a man. It's a great point. That they start with patience.
Yeah.
So that's the first step in loving somebody is to be patient with them and to be kind to them.
Kind. Yeah.
If we start there, the rest gets really easy.
That's right. And Paul even talking about love in 1 Corinthians in that passage, like in chapter 13. Man, he lists a whole bunch of things there that are really great. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Really great, like, tangible, sacrificial, doable, yes. Like about our faith and about our good deeds, yes, and all of these things and our worship and all of that. Like,
huge stuff.
That's all good things, right? And a faith that can move mountains and all. But like, if we do all of these really great things for the Lord, mm-hmm. without love, it's just noise. We're just making noise. It's pointless. It's empty, and there's no purpose. So it always has to. So whatever we do, we have to do it in love. As followers of Jesus. And so that's always my encouragement to believers is like, whatever we do it in love. I'm myself included, right?
Yes.
I need convicted of that all the time, right?
And none of us are
patient,
perfect. It's never
right?
all,
Be kind.
Yeah, you've got 3 teenagers.
Right?
I'm sure that gets challenged on a relatively.
Exactly.
I mean, you've got great kids. They're all wonderful.
Thank you.
I've met them all anyway, and they seem all just great.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're also people, and like I said, they're teenagers,
right.
and there's things. And they're still all learning, and right in that stage of I know everything, and you're like, but you know nothing, and
exactly.
We've all been there. It's just it's part of life. So my daughter is turning 11 in a week, and I am prepping myself for like the junior high stage.
Sure.
And something I've always tried to remind myself and others of is, listen, we were all in junior high, and it's important to try to remember who we were back then, because
good point.
I don't think it was great for anybody.
No, I agree with you.
That said, this is a weird transition, but this is a good segue. So what were you like in junior high?
Oh,
what were you into?
Wow.
Sports, music.
That's a ways back there.
Books.
Sports.
Like
I was into sports.
Cool.
Sports, and our family has always been like outdoorsy and like camping.
Okay.
So camping, fishing, playing outside, kickball, whatever yard game we could come up with.
Did you grow up in Minnesota? Is that where you're
from?
Okay.
Indiana and Ohio.
Okay. All right.
Kind of born and raised in Indiana, and then in middle school, actually, my 6th grade year. So right when you're talking, we moved to Ohio.
Okay.
And spent the rest
of
my teenage. Oh, it was great. Actually, it was great.
Yeah.
But I understand your rivalry.
Anyway,
there's a Michigan-Ohio rivalry. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine, really.
But you turned out okay. So
thank you, thank you. It didn't tarnish me too much.
Right.
But that's So I would say junior high. I was sports and just anything outdoors.
That's cool.
I played basketball.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Basketball and volleyball. So.
Yeah. What position did you play in basketball?
Kind of whatever they needed me to.
So you
typically
point
guard or power forward.
Yeah. Okay. So like your schooling scenario, growing up, small school, big school.
Small school, probably kind of a farm community.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yep. So you being athletic and. Like I'm assuming you loved it. Like you loved it. Basketball. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, it makes sense that you would be the coach is like either I need you to run the plays or I need you to score all the points.
That's right.
Like,
or just execute.
Because that's what happens in those like said small scenarios. You have 1 or 2 that are good, and then you just hope you get enough to fill the court.
Right.
Somebody told me once though that you were pretty good in college too.
I was.
You're not. I know you're not a braggy person, but I need to hear this story because nobody.
No.
Yeah, you have to now. I've made it weird.
What? Yes, you have, and you're not going to edit this out.
For sure
I know
not.
that. What the heck?
This whole thing was so I could hear your college basketball story. All that spiritual stuff.
What
was
have
great.
you heard? What exactly?
That you were like really good, and you were like basically like Larry Bird in college for women. Like you set a bunch of records or something.
Okay, I don't know who's telling where you're getting your information.
I might have made most of that up. I don't know. I'm just fishing.
No. Gosh, yeah, that's really hard to talk about.
So where'd you go? Where'd you go to school?
I will say I went to Kentucky Christian University.
Okay, cool.
And so here's the deal. The Lord blessed me with the ability to play basketball.
Yes.
And I really excelled at the high school level. And then I excelled at the Christian college level.
Yeah,
So we played, Christian colleges and NAIA colleges, which means nothing to probably a lot of people, but it's kind of the next step up.
So I went to Pensacola Christian College.
Okay,
they played in NAIA
okay.
and all that stuff. Yeah, so I get it.
So at the level that I played at, I definitely excelled.
Yes.
Sorry that I just keep hitting the table, Chris, with like my hand. I just talk with my hands. I realize I made her
nervous.
Tapping the table.
I pushed the button of the things she doesn't want to brag about.
Right.
But it's okay.
So the Lord did grant me success. In my college years playing, and so I excelled at the level that I played at. It's funny because like my kids will watch like Division I basketball, right? And like. So we went to all 4 of my years in college. We went to the national tournament.
Wow.
And we actually won the national championship 3 years.
Oh my
so 3 out of 4. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So like. I was okay.
Right.
We were 3-time champions.
So 3-time champions, and it's
amazing.
I was All-American all 4 years of my college.
Wow.
So like, yes, I
that
was
is awesome.
Blessed. So thank you. And there are records that I do still hold.
No kidding. Like
and
what?
Then there are some that have been.
So
broken.
I'm a big basketball guy. That's why I'm asking these questions. I'm not just wanting to put on you. I'm genuinely interested in these things. I could talk about basketball all day. Before we started this, Chris and I were talking about the games from last night. So.
Oh, perfect.
Anyway.
We also could probably talk about this. Just after we're done filming.
No, this is important stuff.
Instead of just sharing this with everybody.
The world needs this content.
Okay, so in high school as well as college, when I left, I was the all-time leading scorer, rebounder, assist leader, and steals.
So the big 4, you just didn't get blocks, basically.
Right, surprisingly.
Kind of
with
like
my height, I
triple-double queen kind of thing.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sometimes. So I was definitely, and I loved it. I did love playing basketball.
So I'm curious to know this because this tells me a lot about who you are as a person.
Okay.
So were you, I mean, obviously you're talented, had skills, all those kinds of things. Was it, though, more God-given ability, like you just knew how to shoot a ball?
Yeah.
Or are you the kind of like internally, you're the type of person that's, I'm going to win. Are you that like super driven type person?
I would say a little bit of, I would say both.
Yeah.
I would say more that God-given ability.
Really?
Like it was very
easy for you.
That doesn't sound arrogant, does it?
No.
Like,
I get it. Like
it was just very natural to me.
Yeah.
I did have to work hard, and I am.
Of course, nobody gets that level of anything.
Yeah.
Like to whatever you're being super humble, and I get it. But nobody gets to that level of any championship level of anything without working hard. Right?
Yeah. So I did have to work hard for
Definitely,
that, but it did come very naturally to me. And like I said, at the level that I played at, I excelled.
Yeah.
Had I tried to go like a few tiers up in the, Division II, Division I basketball, like that's a whole different size of person that are playing that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Definitely do.
I could still compete. I did.
Yeah, you would still be effective and you'd still be good.
And I did try out the very first year. Here, take you back to 1997.
Okay.
The first year of the WNBA.
Yes, yeah.
I did try out for the Detroit Shock.
No kidding.
I went to Detroit and tried out. Didn't make it, but I got to play with.
That's awesome.
Like 300 other ladies who've been playing in Europe and Division I players and all of that. And I felt like I held my own.
That's cool.
Even
what
though
a great
I was
experience.
it was a very great experience.
And
it was
so
fun.
I mean,
so fun.
And I get it. And like when we talk pro sports, like you're talking about the a 1% of 1% of 1% of people, right?
Right.
That get that opportunity. And talk about like you getting that opportunity.
Right.
How awesome.
It was awesome.
That's really
It really
amazing.
was awesome.
Yeah.
And so I'm always thankful to my dad for kind of driving that train and pushing that through and helping me get invited to that tryout.
Yeah.
That was so fun.
That's
great stuff. Yeah. So God definitely blessed me with a natural ability, and then I worked at it, and I had some great coaches, and I had great teammates, and it was fun, and we were able to excel and have some really successful years, and that's
so cool.
Fun, right?
When did you pick it up? When did you get started in it?
Oh, little, just when we were little.
Like when you're 4, 5, 6 years old?
Little? Like when we were just little. I mean, I remember maybe just always playing with my siblings.
Yes.
Right? We always had like a little Nerf hoop in our house.
Oh, sure,
or whatever.
right.
And
how many siblings?
3 siblings, so 2 brothers and a sister. And so we were always
where do you fall in?
Yeah, I'm second. Okay. I'm second. So I'm the oldest girl, and then the
so
second.
It's like boy, girl, boy, girl.
Boy, girl, girl, boy.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, gotcha. Boy, girl, girl, boy.
Did your older brother hate that you were so much better at basketball than he was?
Well, here's the funny thing. No, they were always so supportive. But
good.
They were so great. But here's the funny thing, and I've told this story before at
I've never heard it. So
just some award ceremonies and things like that I've gotten. Like, my brothers were always more than willing to keep me humble. Because we would go out and play in the driveway.
Oh, you want an award?
Back in
Let's go home and play and remind you.
I will swat every single shot that you take. Because my brothers are both 6'3", 6'4",
guys,
and they played basketball. We all played ball.
Sure. Well, and growing up in Ohio, Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And they were all great. Actually, we were all fairly successful in our own right. But
that's cool.
They were. Oh yeah, if we were playing in the driveway or in the gravel, out by the barn, they would eat me for lunch, right? I didn't stand a chance against them, honestly. I had to resort to some other, maybe some tactics that are kind of frowned upon in an actual game. But
hey, listen, it's in the backyard in the gravel.
Exactly.
Anything goes. Is what it is.
So
I bet though that made you a lot better.
It did, absolutely.
And when you get to play people your own height and all those things.
Exactly. It was so much easier, right?
Yeah,
to play with
to
girls that were
my
yeah. So, but it did teach me how to have to be creative and see the floor, and because I had to pass. I had to pass all the time when we were playing in the driveway, because their arms are 8 feet long, and they'll just block anything. So it was fun to you got to move and cut and pass, and
that's awesome.
It's fun. You got to be smart. I learned how to be a smarter basketball player playing against them. So shout out to the boys.
Oh, that's very cool
for that. So that's my that is my story in terms of I enjoyed, and I don't think I appreciated it as much then.
Well, you never do.
The
you
success
don't realize
that I had.
necessarily
right. I look back on it now. It's like, man, that
what
was
an opportunity.
Yeah. So good, and but I'm also super competitive. To kind of go back to what you were asking, or is it you just want to win? And I will say this is just my confession, and it's something that I'm working through myself. Some of my friends know this, but I think it was to my detriment in my walk with the Lord. Interestingly enough, that I felt it very much in my college years, because I was good, and I knew I was good. And so then there was this pride that just creeps in. But I knew I should also, as a follower of Jesus, be humble, right? So then I'm living with this constant,
it's a tough kind of tension to sit in, especially as a college age kid, 19, 20 years old. You're on the top of your world.
Yes, exactly.
And you say, and we say that in a minimizing way, and it's really not like when you are the best player on the best team in your circle, that puts you on a certain pedestal, and people know you as that. And
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. All of that. You're exactly right. And it was probably years after I got out of college that the Lord was, I know he was working on my heart then, but I just know as I've become more, an adult and a mom and started having to teach my kids stuff, it was very apparent to me that there was a falseness about maybe my humility that,
because how you're supposed to be. Right?
Yeah.
But internally, is that really true?
Yeah, exactly. And the Lord has just been purging that from my life for 20 years now, right? And I'm really grateful for that. So I know that the humility that I want to walk in alongside Jesus, and to try to emulate the humility that he showed us as he walked on this earth. As I walk with him, it's becoming more and more pure and true. And I love that, because I know what it's like to be false. And so I'm really grateful for that. I've also, he's helping me step back my competitiveness a little bit.
It's really okay.
I really...
It's funny how those things live in you internally, though. It's a real, genuine... I can relate to a lot of this. I'm a very similar person in a lot of ways. I'll keep this brief, but in a similar way. So One, I've always loved sports. So I'm the third in the line of us four boys, and I've always been extremely competitive as well.
Yeah.
Never loved the fact that my older brothers were where they were because, you know, like, and to be fair, like, they're both always have been super athletic and successful and whatever, all these things.
Gotcha.
So I definitely felt that all the time.
Yep.
And I always wanted to prove that I was the best of whatever.
Yeah.
And we had our church, maybe you're familiar with this, but we were involved with, our teen group was something called Word of Life. Okay. And they had something called Teens Involved, which was awesome. Same thing. I didn't realize how incredible it was and how useful it was.
Yeah.
But is essentially like a competition-based ministry training. So they had all sorts of categories from preaching, teaching, singing, playing, music, choir, drama, puppets, like all sorts of writing, all sorts of things that you could enter and then be judged and move on from. You had an area which was like your state, region, which was like Midwest, and then the internationals, which was out in New York. Yeah. And 3 years in a row, I was the male national champion.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Right. Congratulations.
And similar though, it created something in me. I was good at this. You couldn't tell me I wasn't good because I have trophies to say I'm really good. Right. You know, and it creates this thing in you. I get it. And it fires those competitive things and all that stuff. And it's same, like, and you start to realize at some point how little that means. And from a worship standpoint, the thing of humility, worship cannot begin until you have a stance of humility. It does. If that doesn't exist, it's like you were saying about the love thing. It literally does not matter. No, none of the rest of it matters. Yeah, and it can even feel like something. It can, like I said, it's just noise though. Until we truly, and it also that's the self perspective. You realize how small, how like nothing we are in comparison with God and that's why, and I do cry a lot on stage, but this is part of it. Like that lives right on my sleeve. Yeah. The idea that me, so finite, so nothing, so the wretched sinners we are, that the all-powerful, almighty, all-present, all-knowing God sent His Son to die for me. Right. That should, and it does. It breaks me all the time.
Changes. Yep.
And I hope that doesn't ever go away. Yeah. Because once you become numb to that, you start losing what the power of the gospel really is.
That's right.
And when we talked about, when we talk guests or people, this is the other side of that. That's why we should so desperately want people to know the love of Christ. Yes. And if we will get to know it more and allow it to impact our lives more and more, it becomes easier and easier to share. Even if you're not that person. It's just you can't not talk about it.
That's right.
Yeah. And so that culture all starts, though, with that genuine humility, truly loving God and being just in awe of who He is and what He's done for us.
That's right.
And the things we get excited about, as cool as trophies and championships and whatever, all these things, right? These like human things, they're so meaningless in the end. So impressive to, for all these other reasons, but what we really care about in eternity and the kingdom, it's just nothing. And it doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter. And it's about knowing Christ and what He's doing in our lives.
Well, that's exactly right. And Jesus said the two most important things are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength. That is that covers every little bit. That's our mind, our heart, our soul, right? Our spirit, our strength, like our physical. Like it is, like that's number one.
All encompassing.
And it has to be on purpose. It will not happen by accident. You have to practice loving God with all my mind, right? With all my heart,
your thoughts, all the ones that come through that
That's
filter.
Exactly right.
Does this work through loving God? All my actions, all my strength, all my power, all my words,
all my feelings. Yeah. Yes, like.
And when you put it in that box, you realize how much we fall short.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
All the time.
So Lord, help me to love You with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength every moment of every day. And then Jesus said. And the second command, right? The first one is to love God, right? And the second one is to love your neighbor as yourself. Like as you take care of yourself, take care of other people, the people around you, the people you come in contact with. whether you like them or not, whether they're like you or not, whether they are of the same people group you are or not.
Yeah.
Love those around you.
There's no caveats there. There's no categorical things that we get to just, oh, well, that's not my neighbor.
Right.
Or that's not my neighbor. And the disciples had the same conversation,
And that's what Jesus said. Both of the top 2 commandments, right? If he was going to give us 2 commandments.
Like, listen.
Love. They were both love.
You can only remember 2 things because you guys are kind of dumb.
Right.
Like, I know you have a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
Just do these 2 things.
Yeah. And it has to be on purpose. And that doesn't just happen by accident.
Right.
It has to be on purpose. He also said things like, love your enemies.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the world that is backward.
It is. It is.
Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Those are hard teachings.
Yes.
Right?
But easier to swallow when you're in that position of humility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If we truly are walking with Jesus, he helps us with these things. We can't love our enemies without him helping us, right?
Doesn't work.
We can't bless those who curse us without Jesus helping us,
No,
right? And what
it's
a beautiful
so unnatural.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not what we do.
No. And so as he gives the Spirit to help us with these things. And absolutely, if we can come to this place of recognizing in humility, where we actually stand, that our life is just a vapor, right? It's just a mist. So like, Lord, help me in my time as a vapor on this earth to like honor you and to love you well and to love other people well.
Yeah. Well, and you start also seeing things like your gifts, like your abilities, like you start realizing those are gifts from him.
Yep.
And they're not for us.
That's right.
They're his to be used for his glory.
That's right.
And once you start realizing those things, that's what breaks down that whole false humility thing.
Yeah.
Because really, at the end of the day, it's what are you using those tools for? Are you using it for self-glorification and then just trying to be like, oh, but guys, it's fine.
Right.
Or are you truly trying to use them for God's glory?
That's right.
Once that happens.
Yes.
Because we are a church full, and to get back to the beginning of what we talked about, we're a church full of wonderful, smart, successful, there's so much giftedness and talent and ability and all these things that our church is so full of.
Yep.
And if we could just get to the point where we're all desperate, like, here, God, here it is. What do you want me to do with it?
Yes.
It's yours. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
And this is, we're going to sing a song this Sunday, and that's all. Like, I give you the thing I have, as little and unworthy and all those things that is, but here you go. We're in this series of generosity.
Yeah.
And that's the open-handedness.
Yes.
As opposed to the tight-fistedness
that
we like to live with. It's giving it all away. Like, my words, my voice, what is it? My mind. What do you want? All of it. It's all yours. Yep. And that's where we see real change and real, long-term, lasting effectiveness for the kingdom. And it's all really good stuff.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. We've talked about a lot of things.
We have.
It's been really good.
Good.
You were so nervous.
Well, I just didn't know. Right? I just was like,
I'm easy to talk.
Do we really need the cameras?
We talked about it at the beginning. This could be called, what did we say, the blabbering?
Bunch of blabbering.
A bunch of blabbering.
Yes, because I'm a talker. I could just talk.
Yeah,
and you said the same, so that's...
So it makes for a good podcast. There's no awkward silence.
Right.
This actually, I've loved this so much because I haven't got to know you very well, and so it's
Yeah.
been great to actually get to do that a little bit.
I agree.
But I do want to wrap up with this. So, all that said, all the super spiritual things. So, do you have like a favorite sports moment, whether it's yours or something you experienced or watched, or like what's something that just lives in your brain that was like, oh yeah, that was awesome?
Okay, so remember beforehand when I said, if you ever ask me any question like, what's your favorite, I just freeze.
Or a favorite.
I can't.
Doesn't have to
I
be
can't
the
remember.
favorite.
Yep. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna remember in about 3 hours.
Okay, so like, did you have any
think.
big moments in your national championship games? Did you have any like?
Oh, here, you'll appreciate this.
'Kay.
This was just a big one.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be
I don't know if
the
it
most
was like
whatever.
my favorite. Okay, a couple of things.
Yeah.
My senior year.
Okay.
My sister, I was a senior, my sister was a sophomore, and my younger brother was a freshman.
All at the same school?
All at the same school
Okay.
at Kentucky Christian. And the men's and women's national tournaments were both in Oklahoma City
Okay.
that year at Mid-America Christian University, I think. Anyway, and our guys team and our women's team both won.
That's awesome.
That year. So,
and did your sister play
yes,
as well?
So we all played. Yeah, so
that's amazing.
So my sister and I loved playing with her. It was
cool.
fun,
Yes.
right? It was fun to be on the court with her at the same time. Same team. And then our brother, you know, he got to play as a freshman, and so we got to watch some of their games, and it was just fun. That was just a fun, you know, family memory for us, right? And our parents got to be out there and watch. So
cool. And
that was
same
fun.
thing. How many people get to say that?
Right.
That's a very unique experience. Yeah.
That was fun. Cool. That was fun. But here you'll appreciate this. My sophomore or junior year, I can't remember, we were in Toccoa Falls, Georgia at the national tournament. And the championship game, I think it must have been my sophomore year, championship game, I picked up 4 fouls in the first half.
Oh, gosh.
Coach was not pleased.
Let's just say
that. Coach was not pleased.
What are you doing?
Well, I had 3, and he left me
Did he call you by your last name?
Yeah. I mean, it's not pretty. It's not pretty.
Even at the Christian
I
colleges,
had 3 fouls, and within the last minute of the first half, picked up my 4th foul. That was a mistake.
Yeah, it's bad. And especially as a
right, like I needed to be in there.
Yeah.
Right.
National game. That's
right. Yeah, this is the championship.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine.
Just a little pressure. But I think this is what you will appreciate. I didn't foul out.
That's impressive.
Game. So I played the whole second half.
Clean.
Clean. Yes.
Enough
I mean,
they didn't call me.
They didn't call me.
Listen, so I coached girls basketball for quite a while.
Okay.
And I've reffed basketball. And the truth is, in women's basketball, you can call 18 fouls every possession.
Yes.
Like, seriously, it's a very physical game. And I realized, there are differences between the men's and women's game. But a lot of guys don't realize it is a very, physical game.
Yeah.
Partially because they're not jumping quite as high. They're not necessarily running as
right.
But the intensity is high.
Yeah.
And the competitiveness is extremely high. And the on-the-ball defense is way different. It's way more intense.
Yep, absolutely.
So anyway, the fact that you were able to get through...
Right.
20 minutes, I'm guessing,
yeah,
another half of basketball is
yeah.
without getting fouled out.
That's a good moment.
Hey, that's impressive. And you didn't foul out.
Right.
And I'm assuming you won the game.
We did.
Okay.
We won. That was our first. We had been runners up the year before. My freshman year, we were runners up, and that stunk. And so then, that was our first. That was our win, and we won the championship that year. And then, the next 2 years. Nice. It was exciting.
What's the most points you ever scored in a single game?
I don't actually remember. I think 37.
Okay.
I think it was upper 30s.
That's impressive.
But thank you. I think that was it.
Okay, I'm going to tell you mine.
Okay.
It's far less impressive. Just FYI. They're far less impressive.
That's fine.
Anyway, but this is intramural basketball while I was in college.
Yeah.
Right. There was 2 things, and these happened in the same game.
Okay.
One at halftime, they had stolen the ball. Guy took off running down the court. This is running down 10 seconds or less in the half, right?
Yeah.
And guy throws it way long. I saw it coming. I sprint back. I intercept it, and I look and I'm running toward our defensive basket when I see it. There's 3 seconds left, and I see it.
Yeah.
I caught it below the free throw line on the other side.
Okay.
I turn around. I took 2 dribbles. And I threw it up. 3/4 court shot. Nailed it. I felt like the biggest person in the entire world.
Absolutely.
Meant absolutely nothing, but it was great, right? A buzzer beater shot is it doesn't matter, right?
Nothing
Even if you're playing 21, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
Yeah. And then in that same game, later in the fourth quarter, I had this just ridiculous burst of points where I scored 15 points in 3 minutes.
Yeah, you did.
It was just boom, everything was just going in,
He's on fire.
This is amazing. Anyway, so that was the height of my sports career.
Nice job. That's fun.
That's so nice of you because
it
doesn't touch your height of your sports career.
No, but it's fun. But I do understand that. That is an actual.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing.
Yeah,
it's
such
legitimately
an
fun.
Thing.
It's funny. Completely random.
Yeah.
Completely. Not even the same subject that we're talking about right now. But what I say to you is I can appreciate that because we just came from Minnesota, right?
Right.
And we were under feet of snow and frigid cold.
People down here don't know.
They don't know.
Think,
but here's what I would say. Here's what I've always said. So our friends that we have here that we've been in touch with, even when we lived in Minnesota, when it's, you know, it's below 0 there, or it's in the single digits or whatever. Well, you guys had a few cold days this winter where it was like in the 20s or whatever, or 30s, and like friends would be like texting me or calling me like, oh, it's so cold.
like
and then they'd catch themselves and be like, oh, I mean, it's not really that cold. I mean, I know you're like it's 2 degrees where you are, but it's like
50-degree difference.
Right. But what I say is like, but like cold is still cold.
It is.
So even if it's 29 here,
once
or
it gets
30,
below 30, it's just cold.
It's cold.
Yeah.
So even though we're at 2 below 0 and you're at 31 degrees, like it's still cold. So like I can say that to you, like I can appreciate that from a sports perspective. Like,
still cool.
Dude, 15 points in 3 minutes?
Yeah,
that's
that was
fun.
legit. That's
fun.
Yeah, I hit 3 threes in a row.
That's fun.
And then on the 4th one, I went to pull up, and the guy come flying me, and I pump faked him and went right by him, and I got an and one that gave me by. So anyway,
that's fun.
It was great.
So I can appreciate that for you.
Yeah,
don't ever feel like you can't share that with me.
Well, you know,
because I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing.
Anyway, it was
That's
fun.
a fun thing.
It was fun. Those days are. I used to be genuinely pretty good. Like when I was 14, I could drop, step, dunk with 2 hands. Those days are very, very.
You've got that on me, though. My height of my success is getting to be able to touch the net or even maybe grab a hold of the net. At the height of my success, Jeremiah, I could touch the net. You could dunk the basketball. I was excited to touch the net.
But to go back to my point of like who I was and who I am, really, truly, the main thing is my brothers couldn't. And that was.
That's what you had.
That may be the best sports moment that I could do.
That's
things.
What you did. Yeah.
So, anyway.
I get that.
This has been great conversation.
Good.
This has been awesome. Thank you for being part.
You're welcome.
And thank you for jumping in. And I love that people get to know you a little more.
Oh, gosh.
It's really wonderful.
I hope.
It's good.
Well,
it's really good.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, it's been lots of wins. And I'm really, and I will say, I love your passion for, just especially when we start talking about the people that come in these doors and like stuff, you just light up. And I love for us that a person like you, and I get, like you said, it's not about you and your, but that you are driving that train, and that is the culture we're trying to create, and that we're passionate about it. It's not just a thing that we hope happens.
Right.
We believe it's incredibly important to the growth of the kingdom, and we're passionate about that. So.
Absolutely. And my concern too, because I've seen it, I've experienced it, and I've done it before. Like we don't want to be fakey.
No.
In that. Like we really do want to be authentic.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Yep.
I really do. I don't just want to like try to help people just like their experience or like church on Sunday when they come.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
no, we want more for them.
Yes. Like I really want you
to experience that family.
That's exactly right. I want you to feel like you connected with somebody or something, so that you do want to come back, not because of anything we've done or do, but like because of Jesus. Yeah. Because he's calling you to life that is truly life. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So like
yes.
We want people to just walk with Jesus, and we hope that we are a body, a family that is doing that, is chasing Jesus together, and like, yes, you please come alongside and come join our family as we chase Jesus. And so I really do hope that people coming in the doors will experience his love through us, hopefully, as we're being his hands and feet. But then I also want to encourage the people who do come regularly, who maybe aren't like getting involved yet, right? Who are
kind of sitting in the middle a little bit
and just coming, that's okay, and that's good
it's
for
a great.
time.
I mean, it's important.
Absolutely,
you don't get to the other without starting.
That's right.
There.
That's right. So come and be fed, and come and be able to
just grow.
Learn, that's right.
Mature,
together with other. That's exactly right. But there comes a point where I want to challenge and encourage those that are doing that to like maybe just take that step to get involved somewhere, do something. Maybe you can't sing, and maybe you don't want to teach kids, but you could stand at a door and greet people and just say, hi, good morning, glad you're here. Oh, can I help you find a seat, right? Or maybe you can work in the nursery, right? Maybe you can help with the youth. Boy,
you can somewhere.
You can somewhere. There's all kinds of, you can hand out coffee, right?
Yes,
there is.
Yeah.
Open
a door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or even if you're not officially doing something, like just make your own, like, I'm going to
be part of this.
I'm going to meet 3 new people every week that I haven't met yet.
Yeah.
Or who knows what. Just make yourself available to the Lord. Yeah. Don't close off your heart. Like, go ahead and be intentional. Like, okay, Lord, what can I do for you? And help me to serve you well.
Amen.
And because he's changing us. His Spirit is changing us. And so, like, man, just
let him do that.
Do that. Be open to that, because like I said, we are even finding in our own lives and in our own family's life, man, walking in the Lord's provision is the most beautiful place to be. It's the best place to be. It's not easy, but it's the best place to be.
Absolutely. Amen. Yep. Go team.
Go team. Win. That's a win.
That's right. That is a win.
Thanks so much for joining us for this WIN meeting. Be sure to follow us on Instagram @The WIN Meeting and to subscribe to the Current Christian Church channel on YouTube. We'd also love to hear your wins, so send us a message on our Instagram and share with us some of the ways God is winning in your life.